Christian coffee shop theft. So I worked at a little coffee stand in a government building in the city for a while. The owner of the business who had the coffee shop was a Christian Republican who was part of the political scene in the nearby capital of the state. This will become relevant later. So we had a new hire, a young kid maybe about 22 or so. I tried to train him but he seemed really disconnected and didn't care at all about the job or his coworkers. We didn't have running water where the espresso machine was, so the closing shift, was supposed to fill 5-gallon buckets at the end of their shift at the sink, which was a couple 100 feet away, so the opener, me, could begin brewing coffee first thing in the morning. Of course, if that hadn't happened I'd often get way behind and there'd be a huge line of customers if I had to bring a cart with all of the buckets and fill them before doing my normal duties, which was pretty stressful. Anyways, come to find out this kid was part of the youth group at the church that the owner frequented. More on that later. So this kid decides to move on and put in his notice. On his last day, a $100 was missing from the register. My boss was very upset and there was no real way to determine where the money went since there was maybe 3 employees at the time but only him and I were working that day, so of course I am a prime suspect. And certainly the good little Christian boy would never do such a thing. This made me very nervous because I was in a very bad place financially. One of my parents was dying in the hospital and my other parent was losing their house, and the last thing I wanted was to be seen as a thief and lose my job or have my reputation in question, as I needed money to help with moving costs and storage on top of everything else. Side note, the kid left his journal at the coffee shop around the time he quit and I looked through it, not knowing what it was. One of the excerpts read something like, "I really want to be cool so I started listening to rap," or something equally along those lines, which made me laugh, although part of me felt bad for him. Despite feeling sorry for the kid, his actions put my life in jeopardy in an incredibly stressful time in my life and, well, I didn't feel that bad. I had no way to prove that this kid stole the money even though I knew he did, and I had to clear my name. So, I found an online service that allowed you to spoof email addresses. For example, I could send you an email and it would look like it was from your mother if I knew her email address. I can't remember how I got the kid's email address, this was a decade ago, but I had it, and I had the owner's email address, the Christian politician. So I simply sent the kid an email posing as the owner of the business, and the body of the email was some random Bible verse about stealing that I had found after a quick Google search. I think the body of the email simply read, 1 Timothy 6 verse 10, and nothing else. I was a bit concerned that the email wouldn't come off as legit, but much to my great delight I came to work the next day and the manager arrived and she was ecstatic. She said, "You'll never believe it. Luke confessed to stealing the money. He just called up, the owner, crying, and wanted to give it back." I think I broke down in what could probably be described as hysterical laughter, and I began trying to explain to her how I got him to confess, but she didn't believe me, and probably didn't even understand what I had just told her. She just said something along the lines of, "No, I think he just really felt bad and wanted to do the right thing." So, the owner of the business, county commissioner, if you're reading this, that's why your disciple confessed to stealing the money, he thought you were onto him.